The East India Company EIC came to the Indian subcontinent to trade and make a profit. Contrary to what some believe, the EIC did not initially come to the subcontinent with malicious intent. The East India Company representative, Robert Clive, was dictating terms to the Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II in 1765, following the defeat of the Mughal forces in the Battle of Buxar. Let's begin with a brief history of the company. The EIC was founded in the year 1600 AD when a group of merchants approached Queen Elizabeth seeking to gain royal support for their plans of trade in the East Indies, Southeast Asia. They were granted a royal charter which gave the company exclusive rights for trade in the East. The Indian subcontinent was not the first destination for the EIC. The company initially headed to the East Indies to get involved in the trade, especially the rich spice trade. Its first voyage was in 1601. A factory was opened up in Java. The EIC did not have a very easy time. There were other competitors in the Indian Ocean trade. The company would have to fight with the competition for the trade. Competition that had a head start and had already established itself in the region. This competition came from the Estado Português da Índia, Portuguese colonies in India or EPI, and the Verenigd Indische Company, Dutch East India Company or VOC. East India House. Captain William Hawkins anchored his ship, the Hector, in Surat on August 28, 1608. In doing so, he became the first EIC captain to set foot on Indian soil. The company quickly realized the importance of the Indian trade and the profits that could be made. The Mughal cities are second to none either in Asia or in Europe with regard either to size, population, or wealth. Their cities are crowded with merchants who gather from all over Asia. There is no art or craft that is not practiced there. Jesuit far. Antonio Montserrat on the Mughal city's Surat was the site where the first company ship docked. The company wanted to expand its trade into the Indian subcontinent, including the mainland. Here, it ran into a problem. The Mughal Empire was the dominant power of the subcontinent and controlled the rights to this trade. It was realized that permission was needed from the Mughals for such trade. A personal relationship with the Mughal emperor would be crucial. Captain Hawkins decided to seek an audience with the Mughal emperor. He dressed as an Afghan noble and headed to Agra. A journey that took him about a year. Hawkins managed to gain an audience with Jahangir. He conversed with the Mughal emperor in a little Turkish that he knew, but Jahangir had no real interest in the uncultured and semi-literate ship captain and sent him on his way with the gift of an Armenian wife. All nations bring coin and carry away commodities for the same. Captain William Hawkins on the wealth of Indian trade, the fourth Mughal emperor, Jahangir. There was a conflict with the Portuguese off the coast of the city of Surat, Gujarat, in 1612. The company came out on top in the Battle of Swali. This victory impressed the Mughal governor of Gujarat, who granted the EIC trading privileges. The company set up its first factories around the same time, one on the east coast and the other in Surat. The company realized that it would take a mission from the crown to gain the attention of the Mughal emperor. The EIC approached King James I and requested that the crown send a royal ambassador to the Mughal emperor Jahangir for some sort of trade agreement. The English king sent Thomas Roe as the ambassador to the Mughal court. He finally arrived at the Mughal court in 1615. Sir Thomas Roe is granted an audience with Jahangir. Thomas Roe did manage to gain Jahangir's interest. He wanted to get to the purpose of his stay, that being the EIC factory in Surat and a trade deal with the Mughals. But Jahangir had little interest in these talks. Roe soon realized that the Mughals did not really consider the trade with England or the company as a high priority. The Mughal emperor was far more interested in stories about the small island to the west where Roe came from. The Mughal emperor often seemed to have confused and awed Roe, a poor, silly old man, all ashed, ragged and patched, with a young rogue attending on him. This miserable wretch, clothed in rags, crowned with feathers, his majesty talked with about an hour, with such familiarity and shew of kindness, that it must needs argue and humility not found easily among kings. He took him up in his arms, which no cleanly body durst have touched, embracing him, and 3 times laying his hand on his heart. Calling him father, he left him and all of us and me in admiration of such a virtue in a heathen prince. Thomas Roe on Jahangir's attitude towards a Sufi mystic.